We know in general kids are doing better with COVID than adults are in terms of the actual infection. So most kids do well and don't end up in the hospital, don't end up needing any help. But we also know that as our numbers go up with infections in this age group, more kids are ending up in the hospital, are needing ICU, right? So part of it is to protect your kids from that. Um, we've got some more numbers looking at things in the states that have come up with Delta being a bit different than it was earlier in the pandemic. And more kids are definitely getting infected with COVID right now with Delta. Interestingly, what we've seen is the 5 to 11-year-old age group. A third of the kids that are ending up in the hospital are kids who have no comorbidities at all. So I think that's really important for us to know that that's pretty big amount, a pretty big percent. And so a bigger risk for our kids. And so something to think about in terms of protecting them as individuals, as well as that community piece for protection. First piece of this is to know that Health Canada, who's our body that regulates medications and is looking at the vaccine, is one of the most stringent bodies that there is in the world. So when they put out a recommendation that it is safe, it's really something that we can trust. So that's the first part of it. And if Health Canada approves it, I think absolutely it's safe. We know that the vaccine has been safe in everyone who's already had it. Now we have millions of people who have gotten it, right? So we know that it's safe in the 12 and older group, absolutely. We know that actually kids' immune systems are probably better than adult immune systems. Part of our jobs as kids is we get a lot of viruses, and our bodies are really good at fighting off those viruses. So because our immune systems are better, we can try different doses of vaccine and see which one works just as well as the adult one without giving us so much that we actually get more side effects. So they studied different doses, and they found that this smaller dose gives us the same immune response in kids as we see in the bigger dose that we have to use in adults, but it has less side effects. So it's all around better. Some kids have a bit of a sore arm after, not the same kind of feeling as when it's going in, but it's a bit sore for a couple days after. Sometimes when you move your arm, it can be a little bit sore, but the more you move it, the better it will feel for sure. And sometimes people feel a little bit tired and achy. Sometimes you get a bit of a fever. All of that's only for a couple of days at the most. One of the things that's happened in that older kid group, that sort of young adults and adolescent boys especially, is something called myocarditis. And I think people have heard a little bit about that. What that is kind of an inflammation around your heart. And that is, of course, sounds really scary and is really scary. What we know about it is that if you get myocarditis from the vaccine, which is still a really small amount of people who get it, it's really mild and it goes away mostly on its own. The bigger piece of that is with getting infected with COVID itself, you have a huge risk of getting myocarditis. And the myocarditis that you get from getting infected with COVID is significantly worse, landing people in the hospital with long-term effects. So again, there is a little bit of a risk of that. We don't think it's likely in this younger kid group. As far as I'm aware, nothing negative about mental health related to the vaccine. I have seen in the States, this group has started. I've seen some kids so happy that they're crying after, just relief that they are finally protected the way adults are. And I would hope if we've done our job correctly and have helped them understand why, that we would only be making them feel better about the fact that they're more protected and that they're able to, be hopefully going back to more normal activity soon, because we know that this is a huge part of our community getting back to normal is getting more people vaccinated.